Hey, what's up? It's Matt, and we're back for another episode of MPTV. Today we talk with Peter Wiley, the marketing director for Rapid Fire Pizza and Hothead Burritos. But as you're going to find out, this man wears many hats because we're going to talk about how technology has morphed into the marketing world and how you as restaurant owners need to embrace it and need to use it every day. We're also going to check in on his key takeaway, which are checklists. Stay tuned to the end to get that tip. We'll see ya. Come on inside. Hey, what's up? It's Matt. We're back for another episode of MPTV, where we're talking to people in the restaurant industry that are making a difference. I'm here today with Peter Wiley of Hothead Burritos and Rapid Fire Pizza. Welcome.
Hey there.
So we are sitting here in the Cantina in Dayton, Ohio, next to the amazing I-Port beer wall.
Yeah, I like that.
And you said I could make the pun earlier, so I'll make it. You're a man. You're the marketing director.
Yes.
But you wear a lot of hats.
Yep.
So tell the audience who you are, what you do, and we'll get into some good stuff.
Gotcha. My name is Peter Wiley. I'm the marketing director for Rapid Fire Pizza and Hothead Burritos. I also kind of double as CTO, in a fancy term of managing all the tech on both companies. So it's a little bit of an adventure at times.
So CTO has merged with CMO.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because technology and marketing are one thing nowadays.
Yeah, they really do go hand in hand, from working with you on your program to digital menus, like in this store, to email and Twitter. It's all got to work together, and it's got to work together somewhat with the POS. So it's just kind of a never-ending jigsaw puzzle. So.
And that's got to be with your job, especially because your franchisees that you're dealing with, because you're unique. You have some franchises you own yourself,
Correct.
So you understand that daily life.
Right.
But at the same time, you're in the corporate office helping these franchisees live their life easier.
Right.
And I'm sure that tech piece is something that they probably, when it comes to like the third-party ordering and having those all integrated into one system like you guys use. What's the system you guys use?
We currently use Chally.
Chally, yeah.
Yep.
And so having that there, they don't know that stuff.
Right.
So has that, where your job maybe 20 years ago as a marketing director might have been radio, TV, billboard, direct mail.
Yep.
Now it's multiple things.
Yeah, it's definitely expanded. As you said, you used to worry about kind of the website, direct mail piece each month, and we do promo kits, or, in-store materials.
LTOs.
And then it went to 2 brands, and then it went to all the tech side of life. So you're just constantly evolving, and if it works right, your franchisees love you, and nobody thinks about it. When it doesn't work right, or something comes up, or doesn't quite go like you planned, then they don't love you so much, and it makes their job harder. And like you said, owning restaurants, I realize that. I mean, that's a major impact. I don't take it lightly that when something gets screwed up, it's not just, something happened. It's like, oh, dude, I just truly affected, several hundred people's lives by either a mistake or just something out of my control. So it's I don't know if heavy burden's the right word, but intensely focused on getting it right and doing the best we can to support franchisees, because I know what it's like to be on the other end.
Yeah. Now, on the tech side, we were talking about this off camera about, tech is great to put in place and, market the restaurant or do something really cool within it, but it's only as good as the training behind it, because I've seen that happen with what we do.
Sure.
Is that the owner, the general manager will launch something and then forget to tell people.
Yep.
Yeah. How do you tackle that, like in you with the franchise hat, like you running your store? What do you do to ensure that everybody knows what's going on and how it's going to impact the day-to-day?
We do, from a franchise standpoint, we do a call every month with franchisees. From a store standpoint, we really try to disseminate information through an email. Every franchisee and every store has their own email. Email's not perfect, but it's at least some way we can send out a new ops page. We can send out, how to make it, on the pizza side, we're rolling out a new Southwest Chicken Bacon Ranch. Well, we're gonna send out an ops page. We're gonna tell you where it is on the POS. We're gonna tell you, we're gonna add these coupons. Here's how you ring them up. We're gonna send out an email on it. We're gonna do Twitter. So we try to give a long list of everything that it impacts, and we're getting better at it. I mean, it is a long list. As you said, it used to be 1 or 2 things. Yeah. There's a button on the POS, oh yay. No, now there's buttons on the POS, buttons on online ordering, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub. Got to make sure it works in Chally. I got to tell you that we're running a new special so that you can push it out through Facebook like we do. We got to post it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So there's a long checklist of things that have to occur to try to make it as transparent as possible. When the customer walks in the door, the crew goes, "Great, you want to try the new Southwest Chicken Bacon Ranch? Cool, here you go," and they're done.
What's been the biggest success you've seen in getting people to adapt with the digital elements? Because it used to be, you probably got restaurateurs that 20 years ago had a cash register.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's credit card machines and loyalty cards and iPads and all sorts of stuff.
Right. So the best. Your question was.
What's been the best way you've found to educate them, as far as getting them to adapt to it?
It's almost hold their hand and make it as simple as possible, and put myself in their shoes, which is not always easy to do. But lots of phone calls, lots of training. Again, we try to send out PDFs that have screenshots and directions and all these different things. Try to go over it on the phone call. Because it's just a lot. Like you said, a lot of people, if you've been in the restaurants for a long time, you didn't have anything but a POS, or even just a cash register. So communicating all that all along the way is a little bit of a challenge. And anybody's got any great ideas, we're always looking to learn how to do it. Email's only as effective as people opening it and reading it. So we actually started a text club for our franchisees. So if something comes up urgent, we can text it out. So we're always looking for better ways to do it, and sometimes it's just pure repetition. One email's not enough. I got to send you the thing, at least 3 times to get your attention. And mention it on a phone call, send it in an email, any which way you can. So.
And it's funny to me how similar the marketing from you to your franchises is as it is to the consumer.
It is.
Because I've told this before. I got a couple sales guys that work for my company.
Yeah.
And the one guy was like, "Man, I can't believe this guy took like that many times to respond." I said, "Well, you got to put yourself in their shoes." A lot of people, like in my business, people have not been an owner. I'm like, you hope you walk in here. When we had the boat dealership, there was days I had plans to walk in and do ABC. And I tell the story all the time. I walked in the one day and Eric Almy backed an $80,000 Airstream through our 30-foot tall glass window. And my entire week was gone.
That was done.
It was just that. And so somebody that emailed me that day might got a hold of me. But I had actually one of your franchisees that we deal with, this was a while back, that I had been persistent but not bugging.
Yeah.
And she said, "Hey, I appreciate it because I've been wanting
thinking about it
to get back with you the last 2 months." But it's the same way with you, is that you're trying to tell them, "Hey, there's this new LTO or there's this new item online that you need to pay attention to." And
oh, for sure. It's as an owner, it's triage lots of times, and triage may mean your inbox. It may mean coming in and covering a shift or whatever. But you got to prioritize it. So. You said it well. The more I do this, the more I realize it is a lot like marketing to customers. And that's not putting franchisees down or operators down. It's putting myself in their shoes going, yeah, they get 100 email a day too with a bunch of stuff, whether it's a spam or marketing or real legitimate things, but I don't have to deal with it right now. So how do we better do that? And sometimes it is just persistency and saying, you know what? They were probably busy and they didn't happen to read that email on Tuesday. I better send it again on Thursday and maybe change it up a little bit. Or, we've started playing with videos. I've thought about doing that, watching a lot of your stuff. I'm like, maybe instead of an ops page, we make an ops video. Takes a little more time, but maybe they'll watch it because I don't got to read anything. I could probably condense an ops page down into a 60-second video. And we do shoot a lot of videos that the franchisees can go watch in a library, but take it another step when we introduce stuff, just put it in the freaking video. Haven't done that as of yet, but as we sit here and talk about it, I'm like, we need to try that.
I know of one of my clients, 2 of them actually, that every other day send a video via text. Okay. It's 100% video, and it's 30 to 60 seconds. Like, hey, here's the day in review.
Yeah.
Here's what's happening. And one guy told me, he's like, "Matt, I hear from a lot of them that they get it, they're in the car, they press play, they listen to it a few times, they're driving. So they don't really need to see it. It's typically a message."
Right.
But we're in a visual and audio stage nowadays. It's like this podcast. We get a lot of listens. My goal is 15 to 20 minutes long so that people can pop it and they're listening in Spotify on the way to work.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
Okay, break time. Restaurateurs, it's Matt. And if you're watching MPTV, you're obviously interested in improving your business. What if I told you you could finally take the hope and pray out of your marketing plan and spend money and see results? You see, most marketing starts with the same exact tactic. You gain the attention of somebody, but that's where the majority of it stops. What we do with the ROI engine is help you gain amazing attention, which drives gigantic engagement. That engagement leads to customers to tell us who they are, meaning they opt into your email, text, and birthday program, and then we drive them to buy something. We've got a lot of great programs that can help you, and we'd love to have a conversation with you. If you're interested, it's easy. Check out ROIexperts.net. You can schedule an appointment and we'll hop on a call with you. Worst case scenario, you learn how to market your restaurant like you've never heard of before. Back to the action.
So as the CTO, I guess my question with regards to like restaurant operators, you got a mom and pops out there that aren't really adapting to digital world. They're finally forced to get into the third party game.
Yep.
What are like one or two things you've seen that you would say you really need to get on top of this?
Right now, given current time frame, definitely third-party ordering and online ordering. If you don't have just online ordering, you need to get it.
Yep.
And I know there are multiple companies out there who offer you free trials and free samples, and I would try it. Any type of online ordering, I think, is just very important to exist. So right now, if we find a restaurant that doesn't have it that we may want to try, we just simply may not try it. And on the third-party side, a lot of them take a big whack of the percentage. There's no way around it that we figured out except raising prices on them. But it is the trend. People do order. If they see you on there, they'll reorder. I mean, we've done a whole bunch probably with DoorDash more than anybody else. And you'll generate 3,000 to 5,000 new customers on some of their campaigns. Now, again, it's spendy because you're taking 30% of what you generate, but I got food in people's mouths. So those would be my two priorities: is make sure you have online ordering and embrace third party as best you can. Not to just plug Chally, but we have used Chally very successful. There are several other companies that get the orders from the tablets, which are a nightmare to deal with, into a POS, and they work with a myriad of POSs. So whether it's Chally or whatever the other options are, that I would also highly recommend that, because your crew will love you. Because you bring in third party, like we have some stores have 4 tablets. You got Postmates, Uber, Grubhub, and DoorDash. Orders comes in and we were transcribing them, writing them down to get them over to make the burrito or make the pizza, and your crew just hates you, right? Yeah. It's a pain. As soon as they come into the POS, it's just an online order. So I guess that would be 3 things, but I would tie those all together. And I think you'll gain some volume, you'll gain customers, and your crew will be much happier. So. And
one thing I was telling an operator the other day about it, the third party, yes, and there's big variances. I've seen people getting 5 or 10% costs. I've seen 30 and 40.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just like what people pay us to do. It's acquiring a customer.
Right.
They're putting you in front of somebody. And I've said, the game now is that you need to find out how to get that person to have a great experience for the first time from your brand to come and do it. It's like me. We ordered from a place called Max Pizza Pub, downtown Cincinnati. We were looking for something new. We didn't want to drive. We had already walked everywhere. And I got on Uber Eats and I saw, Max, they're like over across river in Kentucky. We tried it. And they did the most basic thing that worked. Now they have delivery, some places don't. Was I opened up our order. We had wings and pizza. And they had a little menu with a handwritten Post-it note that said, "We appreciate your business. By the way, we deliver within 5 miles of downtown Cincinnati."
Yeah.
We've ordered 5 times now.
From them directly. Right.
And so, that was the most basic about it. They could have done a lot fancier stuff like I do. But that right there, I had never gotten a handwritten note like that. And I was like,
that's a nice touch.
It stuck out.
Props.
Yep. So from a marketing standpoint, you help a lot of the restaurants, and your job has evolved from a standpoint, like you mentioned, that used to be update the website, some in-store. Now you've got all these digital elements out there. What have been a few things that you've seen as you as a franchise owner that have helped you make an impact that you would suggest other restaurant owners look at and give a chance?
From a digital marketing?
Yeah, from an advertising standpoint.
Yeah, I will always go back to the more you're there, really grassroots, right? The more you're there as a person and the more you create a relationship, just like that handwritten note.
Yep.
I think that has been some of the most successful restaurants we see, where the franchisee is super involved, or just even doesn't have to be a franchise. It's another restaurant where you walk in and it's the owner, or at least you see him there. I think that is one of the largest things you can do. And if you're not actually in the restaurant, if you own multiple restaurants, you got supervisors and stuff, is encourage them to take that approach. And then in your marketing and your media is if you can convey that in some way, that we're not just a blah brand, but we want to get to know you. We want to try to embrace you in some fashion. Facebook, I think, is a great way to do that. We've done a lot with you, trying to reply to every comment. Now, can you do that on your own? That can be tough, but we do enlist your team for some of that. And I think it does help build that relationship where it's not just a restaurant, it's a relationship.
Yeah.
We can always get better at it. I think everybody can, but that's what draws me back to different places, is that connection.
Yeah, and that's a common thing that's come up in a lot of conversations with restaurant operators in this podcast, is knowing your customers when they walk in, because like for me, that's what gets me coming back. I interviewed a guy named Bob Jacoby in one of the first episodes. I think it was actually the first episode we did. And when we walk into his restaurant, Quaker Steak and Lube, he literally addresses my son Cole before he does me. And he knows Cole plays football for Isle High School, and he talks about, like, man, I saw it on Facebook. And that right there, my son has brought up, hey, Bob's over there.
Yep. How you doing?
Yeah.
Well, and Ray and I have talked about it a lot, and Ray's hammered it home, is we can mail 250,000 pieces. You can run a Facebook ad and get 100,000 you can do all these different things. But if they come in and have a bad experience, it doesn't matter. They're not coming back. I mean, I'll take mediocre food over great food if I get amazing service with it. Like I said, my name, say, hey, how you doing? Like, oh, it's good. But you'll win me over if you remember me, name it. Our successful brands, successful chains. And I used to work at Subway years ago, and I'd know everybody that was coming in. You make their food every day or once a week, and that's the strongest thing you can do, because no matter what you spend on marketing, it just doesn't matter if your crew, your attitude, if everybody's not embracing the customer and wanting them to come back.
Yeah. And if you've got, like you mentioned, if you're an owner with multiple locations, you've got to have that general manager in that store that is an extension of you.
Yeah.
That has skin in the game, that wants to have that same thing.
Yep. You want them to be fired up to say, hey, how you doing? What can I get for you today? Not just, what do you want? So.
Restaurant owners, did you know Matt has free online marketing courses that teach you how to successfully market your restaurant? Email support@mattplapp.com to get access to the courses and a free social media content calendar.
So I always end with a question. I never give any kind of ideas on it. It's just, if you had to give one piece of advice, something that's tangible, to say, hey, like my buddy told me, hey, Matt, eat more vegetables every day and you'll be in better shape in 20 years.
All right.
If you had to give that piece of advice to a restaurateur, what would the vegetables be? What would they consume to do more often, to take steps forward every day?
Probably make a checklist, because I'm learning more and more. If I don't live by a checklist, I die by one. And it sounds like a cliche probably, but there's just so many things going on. As we were saying, you can just become quickly overwhelmed. Somebody backs a bus through your window. Well, what was I supposed to do? I don't even know what my priorities were anymore. Yeah. So at least if you have a checklist, I know we have a top 10 checklist we use in our stores, or try to use, and it's when you walk in the restaurant, what are you checking? I'm checking sneeze guards, I'm checking floor, I'm checking whatever. They're gonna hammer me because I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
But it's not personal, it's not judgmental, it's just a checklist. Walk in, hey, this is done, great, man, you did a great job, you hit all these things. And I think it gives your crew accountability, it gives you accountability, and if you do those things, they become habit. And now it's not as much of a checklist as is just a way of life and culture.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta have that checklist to build on the culture and create the culture. And if you're always forgetting what you're supposed to be doing, or what the high priority things are, you're over here cleaning this when your sneeze guard's covered with something, like, that wall looks great, but you know what? I can't see through the sneeze guard.
Yeah.
So I guess checklist would be mine.
Checklist, I love it. We have that for this podcast. We have an SOP, a standard operating procedure, and we have a checklist. And it's like, hey, when we have somebody working on any project, it's, here's the SOP of what your job is.
Yep.
here's why, but here's the checklist to go along with it, because like you said, like there's a lot of things you can do.
Yep.
That you once you do it 20, 30, 40 times, it becomes secondhand nature and it becomes easier. But the minute you miss one or two things, the wheels could fall, especially in the restaurant business.
It is, and it's easy. It's easy to get distracted and just miss something basic. To plug a book, there's a checklist manifesto is what I read that really hammered it home. It's a really short book.
Is there a checklist in there?
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Did you read chapter 1? Yes.
Yes, yeah, did you? Yeah, exactly. I can't say I'm great at it, but I'm working very hard on it to get it done right, and because it makes it easier for everybody. It makes it easier for me, for my marketing team, for my IT team, for our ops team, for the franchisees, for their crew, because if we just throw it all out there, it's kind of like chaos. If we give them a checklist to do and follow in steps, everybody just takes a deep breath and rolls through it. It's much better day.
Much better day.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, that checks off another episode of MPTV. Thank you for your time, Peter.
You're welcome.
And we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you check back every Tuesday for new episodes, and we'll make sure to check our list and keep you all informed. See you later.